edition of TNN Motorsports. Zero to 60 in a second. 0 to 100 in 2. That, my friends, is one super scooter. And for the dashing men and women whose job it is to tame this torque beast for 7 seconds down a quarter mile, Saturday on Labor Day weekend is their unofficial all-star game. 8 of the top qualifiers over the past year in Pro Stock Bike take the field at Indianapolis Raceway Park to chase a tidy bundle of cash in the Wax Shop Dash. It is the richest pro stock motorcycle drag race in all the world. The Wax Shop Dash, live on TNN from beautiful Indianapolis Raceway Park. If it's Labor Day weekend, it must be the granddaddy of all drag races, NHRA's U.S. Nationals from IRP. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans. This is the first of 4 live shows over this long Labor Day weekend we're going to bring you. You might want to get something to write down the exact broadcast times. We'll have those in just a few minutes. Now, the Wax Shop Dash gets its name from, well, the Wax Shop in Bakersfield, California. They're the people that put up $30,000. This is the most money these guys raise for anywhere, anytime. And it truly is an all-star field. It's the top 8 riders based on points earned in qualifying over a full year, actually from August to August. Now, exactly who are they and how do they pair up? Well, who better to tell you all of that than Ralph Shaheen, buddy?
Thank you, Steve. They are the slickest, the quickest, and oh yeah, most definitely the fastest two-wheeled rocket ships in NHRA competition. Not those, these right here. And the 8 best pilots of these land-based missiles have made it into the Wax Shop Dash. Now, to introduce you to who is going to go up against who, let's show you the ladder for today's Wax Shop Dash. Now, the first pair is going to be John Myers up against Ron Ayers. Myers is the #1 seed. Ayers, however, has a new engine program in '96. The next pair will be Steve Johnson versus Rick Ward. Johnson, the most gregarious. Rick Ward, the winner of last year's U.S. Nationals. The third pair will be Dave Schultz against Matt Hines, and what a war that is going to be. Number 4 pair, 3 seed John Smith up against the 6 seed Hector the Hammer Arana. Should be a great battle in all 4 matchups. Now, before we go racing, we got to introduce you to each of the personalities. The good news for number 8 qualifier Ron Ayers is he's in the dash. The oldest competitor in the Pro Stock Bike division is part of this special event for the 3rd time in his career. But now for the bad news. He'll have to put his Mac Tool Suzuki up against a man who's had a stranglehold on this event since 1992.
John Myers has pretty well had locks on the race in the last few years, and having him first round, if I get past him, maybe I can win it.
Winning is something Matt Hines is getting used to. Second-generation Pro Stock Bike rider already has 2 national event victories under his belt in just his first season. But our number 7 qualifier and the youngest competitor in the field isn't doing it on his own. His father Byron and partner Terry Vance both know a thing or two about racing.
That's added to the pressure with Terry and my dad. They're both great riders, and they got all this backing behind me, and I don't know what to say. They're the greatest.
In the number 6 spot, Hector the Hammer Arana is making his 2nd appearance in the Wax Shop Dash. The Miami auto mechanic is still looking for his first pro win and says despite his limited backing and resources, he still believes he can outrun the other 7 bikes.
I have to look at it on the positive side because you can't go there negative. You have to focus that you can do it, and that's my focus. I can do it.
1996 has been one bad break after another for number 5 qualifier Rick Ward, starting with a broken ankle before the season even began. That kept the Minnesota native from doing any on-track testing before the first race, and he's been trying to catch up ever since despite his problems. Ward says he's glad to be heading to Indy, the site of his first ever win, but knows there's no easy road to the Dash Finals.
Whoever gets past the 2nd round is going to have a tough time in the final because it's either going to be Schultz, Myers, or Matt Hines, and that's going to kind of throw a monkey wrench into Dave Schultz's plans, I think, because it's looking like Matt's going to race Schultz in the 1st round.
Ward's first-round opponent is making his 4th appearance in the dash, but this year, Steve Johnson is doing it on his own without the backing of prestigious Star Racing. The veteran rider still qualified the number 4 position. Johnson isn't a stranger to the finals in this special event, losing to James Bernard in the first ever running of the dash in 1991. He says the money at stake in this race can really change things for some riders.
The Wax Shop Dash has put up the richest drag race for pro stock motorcycles in the world. And a lot of things can change. The butterflies going, you know, all the different things. And I feel really, really confident that my program stays the same no matter if we're going for a nickel or going for 50 million bucks.
The number 3 spot is occupied by another Minnesota native. John Smith has been a perennial contender since joining the Pro Stock Bike ranks in 1992. The former Rookie of the Year got knocked off in the semis in 95 by eventual champ John Myers. This time around, Smith will be looking for better results out of his plastic-tipped Suzuki.
Dave and John are kind of the favorites, but you got Matt to watch out for. It looks like he's in there pretty solid. But the competition is going to be a little tighter than the normal eliminations would be.
If seeing Dave Schultz in the number 2 slot for the dash seems familiar, it should. The winningest rider in Pro Stock Bike history has been the bridesmaid of this event 4 years in a row. And the blue bike is going to finally break the red bike's hold on this event. It'll need some good karma. 2 good runs for another shot at the finals and $12,000.
That's the only way that Dave has to win that, to win that thing, because it seems like John is always the guy that's got a handle on it. So it's just up to me to try to get to the final and try to change his luck.
Number 1 qualifier John Myers is hoping 96 isn't any different than 95, 94, 93, or 92. All years he walked away with the top prize. The 38-year-old's domination of this event has been so complete over the last 4 years, most people probably assume the Star Racing team has some secret formula for success. But Myers says the real trick is not doing anything out of the ordinary.
We have a lot of records from various tracks and for this bike. We've got a lot of runs on this bike. We've always got a new engine combination, but those records give us a good baseline. That gives us a head start.
You know, it's a heck of a view as you try to tuck down behind the paint here on one of these Pro Stock bikes, and Dave Schultz is going to be too busy to explain it, so we're going to let our own Bob Fry and one of the fastest men ever on 2 wheels, Terry Vance, do that for you a little later on. And you know, this Wax Shop Dash is just a part of one of the most monumental television schedules TNN has ever had from the U.S. Nationals. So break out that pen and paper and write down all these times, because you don't want to miss any of our live coverage from here at Indy. And it all starts tomorrow at 11 a.m. on Sunday with the NHRA Today coming up at 11 a.m. And then we'll follow that up with live coverage of the All-Star Shootout for the Big Bud Shootout for the Fuel Coupes. That's at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And then on Monday, we've got 3 hours live. Yes, sir, 3 hours live starting at 4:30 with the U.S. Nationals. What a weekend if you like drag racing. And we're kicking it all off with live coverage of the Wax Shop Dash after this. Welcome back to the Wax Shop Dash, everybody. You know, these Pro Stock bikes are pretty long, about 120 inches from tip to tip. The bike itself is only some 70 inches long. And they really get going down this quarter mile here at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Should make for some great racing. In order to do that, we've got to take you to the booth where Bob Fry and Terry Vance have the first few rounds of racing for you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Fry, along with the guy they used to call TV Terry Vance. And boy, life's funny. It has come full circle. But you're here today to work with us on the Wax Shop Pro Bike Dash live here on TNN, and also to try to use up some of that nervous energy as you get set to watch Byron Hines and Matt out there tangle with the rest of this Wax Shop field.
That's right, Bob. I'll tell you, I think I'm as nervous as a rider himself. And Matt, he's all cool, calm, and collected. But here I am with wet hands, because of him riding. But he's handling it.
You were one of the pioneers, the first really recognizable figures in motorcycle drag racing, and it really has come a long way since you started back 20 years ago.
Yeah, it really has, Bob. They got professional teams. You see all the teams, out there giving it their best shot and looking very professional, and they're racing for a lot of money now, as they are in the Wax Shop race today. So, I mean, it's just a great thing to see the class evolve like that, knowing that you began that.
Terry Vance, who used to run in both Top Fuel and Pro Stock motorcycle and had success right here at Indianapolis. He'll be watching a great rivalry unfold here today. That John Myers and Dave Schultz. During the decade of the 90s, the Pro Stock motorcycle class has been dominated by Dave Schultz and John Myers. Together, they have won 69 national events and every Winston championship since 1990. As the two prepare to join 6 other riders in this year's Wax Shop Pro Bike Dash, their thoughts turn to winning the richest single race in motorcycle drag racing. Myers, who has won this unique race 4 years in a row, says the Star Racing team approaches this event like it's just another day at the office.
We're just going to run our same program. It's a very simple program. I just go out there and do the same thing we always do. These guys are making the right tune-up to the bike, and, well, it's worked so far.
Riding for George Bryce, who owns Star Performance Parts, Myers figures that he is destined to win, not only today, but every day, because no one rider, or no other team for that matter, comes into an event any better prepared.
I've got the best team in the business at tuning this bike. George Bryce, Ken Johnson, all the gang at Star Racing. And these guys, we have so much information compiled on this bike. We can just go back and open the book from last year and see how the track is, see how the bike responded. Of course, it's a different bike, different engine, but still, we need a baseline to start from, and that gives us a head start.
Dave Schultz, a 5-time Winston champion, has struggled in the dash. He has come up short every year. But the way Dave has it figured, it's in the numbers. And 96 is going to be his year.
This is just going to be a good year for me because this is my 20th year in motorcycle drag racing from 76 to 96. And the other thing is I was born in 48. I'm 48 years old, and if you add those two up, that's 96. Something's got to change in 96.
Schultz and his engine builder, Greg Koch, actually make winning look easy. The national record at a blazing 7.38, recorded earlier this year at Gainesville Raceway. They have qualified #1 a remarkable 38 times. But while it seems effortless, Dave is quick to point out that looks can be deceiving.
From the outside, it might seem dominating, but to us, it seems like we're just working really, really hard. So I think that's the only key to success that I know and Greg knows is hard work.
You don't win the Wax Shop Pro Bike Dash 4 years in a row by being lucky. And while Myers and team owner George Bryce get most of the headlines, there's another key ingredient to their success.
Ken Johnson is John Myers' crew chief. He does the between-round maintenance on the bike. I basically make the calls with a lot of conversation between Ken and John and Mark and Jackie and myself. We compare notes, try to come up with a good plan what to do for each round, and then Ken carries out the duties.
Now, past performances may lead you to believe that a Schultz-Myers final is inevitable. But remember, there are 6 other riders in the field, and they all expect to win. Schultz and Myers are on opposite sides of the ladder. The unknown commodity here is that Matt Hines kid. He's on Dave's side of the ladder. If Dave wins this thing here today, he's going to have to work very hard.
Yeah, he is. He's going to have to go through the 2 fastest guys in the whole country to get there, Bob.
It's going to be something. Let's take a look at some earlier action. First round, it was Steve Johnson and Rick Ward.